The Old Gold Club, powered by Wolverhampton Building Supplies, with Mikey Burrows and Chris Iwelumo.
Welcome along, I'm Mikey Burrows. Alongside me, former Wolves striker Chris Iwelumo. Our guest this week spent 4 years at Wolves as a player and 10 years as a coach, playing and working under 9 different managers. He was the injury-affected flying winger who became a fitness guru. Welcome to the Old Gold Club, Tony Daley. Great to have you here.
Hey there, Mikey. Good to see you. Looms, good to see you.
And you, Dales. Delighted to have you back. Now, we are going to touch on your career, playing career, but I want you to talk more about the whole fitness side of things. For me, you were massive. You know, I think I refused to do weights throughout my career, as you know, because I put size on so much. But the importance of the sport, of how sports science have come into the game in that fitness role, can you just break it down for us, the importance of it, please?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at fitness now, it's only going to make a 1 or 2% difference, but that could be the difference, especially if you're in a championship, whether you're going to get promoted or not. You know, it could be a thing where if you're the fittest team now, most teams in each league are technically the same. You know, from they obviously got a couple of outstanding teams, but in general, most teams are the same. The difference is down to fitness. You know, speed, agility, strength. Whether it be a defender in 85th minute making a last gasp tackle, getting back, or striker breaking through, or midfielder breaking through, making a lung busting run. That could be the difference, and you have to be fit to do that. You know, you're playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. You know, for the majority of the season, fitness comes into play. So that part of it is essential. You know, over the career now, with sports science has come in, it's improved players' ability to sustain training and matches over those periods.
Do you define yourself as a former player or as a fitness coach?
Fitness coach. No, I mean, I had a fantastic career. And I loved every minute of it, and the plaudits for it and everything else. But once I realised my career was coming to an end through injury, I wanted to do something that I wanted to really enjoy and I could make a difference. And coming into sports science was something I always wanted to do, and I wanted to make a mark in sports science the same I made in football. So I do see myself, even though people talk about football career and everything else, it's great and I love it and it's fantastic, and you know, it's one thing I will never forget. But a new chapter for me is, you know, what I'm doing now, and I want to make the biggest mark I can on that.
There's a lot in the media at the minute about players being tired and recovery and things. Now, I remember yourself, you always made sure that we had our specific off summer plans when we were away from the club. How important is it, like now, pre-season recovery? These things are vital about nutrition, what the players are, what they're fueling their bodies with, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's critical. I mean, you're talking about nutrition as well, but you don't realise it's not just the Saturday games they're playing, it's what you're doing during the week in training. If you look at players now who play on a regular basis, once they've got a good pre-season under their belt, they'll be playing regularly Tuesday, Saturday, and if they've done a good pre-season in terms of prepared well, done all the hard work during that time, it's just maintenance, it's just making and keeping them right. The players that I was concerned about, and most teams are worried about now, squads are worried about, are the players on the periphery, the squad players, because what will happen is a player could be involved in the squad on the sub bench, you know, on the Saturday, on the Tuesday, we won't do anything that week because he might be playing Tuesday, doesn't end up playing. Before you know it, 5-6 games have gone on, and all of a sudden injury comes in and he's in the team, and the wonder why that player doesn't produce, doesn't look fit enough, or you know, gets injured because he hasn't reached the levels that he needs to. Those players need to be training, need to be topped up, as we call it now, you know, do additional work so that they're ready and prepared for those games, so that they're at the same level as the players who are playing.
Because I mean, we are going to talk about you as a player. I mean, your Wolves career is not the longest from within that. I mean, me and Luz were talking about this before, and I guess we wondered whether your experiences as a player that you went through here is the reason why you became a fitness coach.
I would say it was one of those, when I was a player, one of those stupid people that actually loved pre-season. Funny enough, you know, I absolutely did. I'm not lying to you. It got to the stage where during the close season, when we played, we had 6 weeks off, and I'd literally for those 6 weeks be running, be in the gym, Of course, been on holiday, of course, but I absolutely loved fitness and staying fit. My aim was to come back, quite wrongly so, by the way, as well, to be the fittest person at that at wherever I was, and it was Villa at the time or Wolves at the time. It was something I absolutely loved. And the first day of pre-season, smile on my face, I loved it. So I think when I picked up a lot of injuries, my career here at Wolves, I was always interested, but prior to that as well, so as a Villa, I always interested in the anatomy of the body, the physiology of the body. So the physio, Jim Walker time, hated me because you go in and says, you've done a hamstring. Okay, what part of the hamstring you've done? He explained. What part of the knee you've done? He would explain, and I think I really want to know about that.
So it's quite interesting you say that, because now we're talking about recovery and that player taking that time off, but it doesn't sound like you took any time off. So knowing what you know now, what would you do differently if you were talking to yourself then? Yeah,
and what we instilled in yourself in terms of, when you finish playing, it's a long, hard season, your body needs at least 2 weeks doing absolutely nothing to recover. So whether you wanted to go on holiday, eat whatever you want to eat, drink what you wanted to do, everything at your leisure for at least 2 weeks, get out your system, enjoy. You need to relax, your body needs to relax. And then during those after those 2 weeks, you were given a program, and it was a slow build up, progressive. I mean, the first 2 weeks was virtually nothing. It's just getting used to it, up until you got to your 5th, 6th week when you're coming back and you're ready for testing. That we prepared those players to be ready to be able to play football from day one. We didn't get them back to be. We didn't want them coming back as in super fit, because there's nowhere to go then, because the only way to go is down. We wanted them peaking for the first day of the season, which means starts pre-season.
Because I always remember, I love this one, because you used to do, was it yo-yo test?
That's right, yes.
Yo-yo test. Yeah. And there was one pre-season when you were getting everyone to do it out the front of Compton. And I remember watching it, and Kevin McDonald was terrible. Like absolutely terrible, like got really low score, and he walked across the car park and he's breathing heavy, and we were all in the reception kind of going like, oh my God, like what's he come back? He must have had a really terrible summer. And then he walks into reception, he goes, all right guys, all right, and we went, what happened? And he went, no, he said, you see, Dales will test me again before the season. He said, I'm going to have the biggest improvement from there, because were players like that?
Yeah, I mean, of course. Was
he like that?
Loom's a good trainer, full stop, to be honest with you.
But he knows the players. Yeah. That's, I'll carry on. Carry on. No, you go for it.
I mean, absolutely. Look, I've played the game and I know the score, but when you give those results to the manager, he goes, oh, Kevin McDonald's only got this. I said, don't worry about him, because I know end of the season, end of the pre-season, he'll be flying. Don't want about it. So I know the ones who were conning who weren't. And, when I say conning, that's a harsh word. They were being clever. But what happens is during those testings, for instance, with that, they were looking to get a better score and improvement and everything else. What I was looking for was, at the end of pre-season, how fit they were. Because during those pre-season, there's no hiding place with the GPS and everything else. So when they started the pre-season training as such, if they weren't performing, that's when you go at them. And I say 99% of players always work their socks off, so I've got no issue at all. And
would you say from your playing career that it was easier for you to manage players in different egos and things like that? Because obviously you can see, it's like me talking about something in football. I think footballers should be referees because they can understand the game, they can see things happening. But yourself, did that put you in a better position to actually come into a dressing room, deal with different egos, and see through players that, like, not conning, but
100% Looms. I mean, I totally agree with you there. I mean, having the playing career I had and everything else gives you an instant respect from the players that you're doing. But saying that as well, if you're rubbish at your job, that goes out the window. So, but you got a leg in straight away, which is quite good. But as you said, looking at on a personal point of view, I mean, there were times, as you said, where we do tests and a particular player, it looks like he's not trying a leg, and to the outside, someone else will go, look at him, he's not trying. And there could be 100 things on his mind. You go and chat to him, what's up and everything else, and that he's, there's something else there. And being playing the game as well, that there's other external factors, and what you've experienced as well. So you're taking your own experiences and being able to handle the players and understand the players as well.
There's a certain responsibility that comes to you under different managers. Did they leave you to it, or were some managers proper on the ball with it and trying to interfere with that? Like,
would name him Mick McCarthy was superb. being able to give you the carte blanche really as well. You know, pre-season. What I liked about him, for instance, he goes, "This is what I'm going to be doing. This is the end of the season. I'm going to do this part, this part, this part, this part." And then what you did to get the perfect pre-seasons to work around that, so any elements that he missed, you could put in, and you could put in, and you'd been able to do that and manage it. And there's other managers where you've gone in and you planned the pre-season and it's just completely gone. But then it's all about managing those stuff. Yep. You know, you've been able to think on your feet. All of a sudden, you know, you've planned a session where you've got 8 players and you know exactly what you're doing. All of a sudden, the manager turns around and go, "Oh, you've got 20 players and you've only got half the length of time." Not an issue to you. You should be there to do that.
Because I mean, I know there was a manager, and it's up to you whether you want to name it or not, that kind of didn't really believe in the gym. Kind of didn't really give you a lot to do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, no experience. I mean, that's a difficult thing because you have your beliefs, and not just your beliefs as well. It's the research that goes behind that can you know, being in the gym can make you more resilient as a player. You know, the sessions I tried to put on weren't to make you have a beach body. You know, it was to make you
helped.
Yeah. It was
preventative as well.
Yeah, it was preventative as well. I mean, it helped because it's a consequence of the work you were doing. Yeah. Everything was functional. It was football specific. It was going to make you quicker, stronger, more agile as a player.
Did you feel then when you went in and you had that knowledge, that background, obviously that information, that it was just ignored then? That must have been difficult because you've got a responsibility to the players, that relationship towards the players as well, haven't you?
It was very, very difficult, and you know, and as you said as well, and I'll be quite honest with you, it was more than 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 occasions when I went to the manager and says this needs to be done because of these reasons, and he gave me these reasons not, you know, and as a manager, you can't accept it. So it wasn't a case of accept it and carry on. You know, it was a case of, you know, come on, we can improve these players. So it's important that you do have your say, but you have to have respect to the manager, you know, to go on, and that's the way he wants things, and that was it.
Because how hard is that? Because I guess as a fitness coach, sometimes how do you define yourself and your success? Because from a fan's point of view, I guess people will say, well, such and such is injured, so that's your fault, or that's your part. And you actually had a really good record. Muscle injuries was something that didn't really happen.
We've got a big team,
so you can't prevent everything.
No, of course not. And it's a good question, Mikey. What you found as well, we were a team. You know, and just saying, you know, it's just there. We had a great association with the physio, especially Phil Hayward at the time as well, where we were linked. Because what you find as well, you're looking at a fitness coach who wants to get the best out of performance, and you got a physio who wants to prevent injuries, and sometimes the clash because they think you're doing too much and you think you're not doing enough. But we came to a happy medium where we were trying to get the correct load, and you'd always listen to a physio who goes, he can't really do that today, and it was genuine. It wasn't because we had a good thing. No, it's fine, keep him out. And it even come to go, well, he needs to do more really, Phil, and it worked really well. So it's really having that understanding with the people, your team that you're working around you. So it could be difficult, but being able to cope with it and handle the situations were fine.
No, I totally agree. I think it's for me. I must have been difficult at times. Where the fact is, I'm not. But on an honest note, because I looked after myself, diet wise, things like that. But I had 10, 12 operations on my left knee, so there was different loading, and I didn't like doing the weights. So when I remember I came to you and you said, I says, look, Dales, if I do these weights, I'm going to put size on, and I want to be as mobile as I possibly can. I wasn't the most mobile anyway, but I used it to my. And I remember you went away and you came back with a program. I've done that, and you thought, right, that I'm going to tweak this. And I've got to say, it's the most boring program I've ever done. It was, I think, 95% of my max I had to lift.
Absolutely,
I had 8 different stations, 2 reps on each. And then when I finished the 8 stations, I had to wait 4 minutes and do it all over again. And look, I'm laughing now because I think he did. I was in the gym for 2 hours after sessions anyway. And I think he's thinking, right, you know what, I just want you to be in there and get it. But it worked for us. You know, it was Wolves got the best out of me, and a lot of it's down to that as well for me.
I appreciate that, but most importantly, as you said, it's knowing the player. I mean, it's not one size fits all. I mean, as you said as well, I mean, you're a seasoned pro, and you've come to me, which is great. We've had the conversation, and you know how to manage your body. And with my slight input in terms of saying, no, you can't just not do anything. You do need to do something as well as that. So we came to a happy medium, and just found that no issue with that. You know, there's no issue me barking around. Nope. You got to do it. It's going to make you a better player. You know how to manage your body. That's the most important thing.
Okay, here's this then. How about a player that wasn't easy to go with and never liked doing the weights? How do you manage that player?
Quite easy. I mean, get to the stage. I mean, I've actually had a player who hated the gym, hid from the gym. Probably two players. One. I think I managed him quite well in terms of actually standing over and make him do the stuff. And there's one who's even standing over, refused to do that. And as he says, no, you can only say to him, look, this will really help you and everything else. Don't get me wrong, he's very polite about it. It wasn't a case of, we have a standing row about it, but, you're forthright, it needs to be done, okay? So we got to a stage where I had to go and see the manager and says, look, this guy isn't doing anything in the gym, okay? So, we go to the manager, we get the physio, get myself into a room and chat. Okay, then what do you think's right for you? Well, I don't want to do this, and this does this for me, and this hurts my bones and stuff like this. It's another story, and in the end we come to happy medium. Okay, then during this period we can do this and everything else, But at certain stages you're going to have to do this. So we built a bespoke program for him, which he was happy with and helped him as well. But we could have got more out of him, but you have to do that.
Yeah.
Did that almost annoy you on the basis that you would have loved to have been fit enough to play more games than you did?
Yeah.
So to see somebody else not making the most of what they've got.
Yeah. Listen, Mike, I totally agree. If I knew what I knew when I finished football in terms of going to university and learning about the body and everything else, how it could improve, going to the gym, conditioning, looking after yourself, recovering correctly, it would have made me a much better player and perhaps stayed even fitter and prolonged my career for sure. So it is quite frustrating, but it's not battering people, it's not preaching to people, it's actually educating them. It's been actually shown a purpose where you actually, come on, try this for this length of time, see if it makes a difference. And as I said to you, 99% of the time you get buy-in. It's important to get buy-in. So you can't just go, this is the system. Go, lads, this is what you're going to be doing. It's perhaps something you haven't been done before. If in pre-season you're going to be in a gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, you're going to come back in the afternoon, at 2 or 3 o'clock after you finish training to do these gyms. And what you realise when the players see they're getting fitter, they're getting stronger, and aesthetically looking better. I mean, that does help as well as a consequence of it. Then you get that buy-in.
Because, I mean, you look better now than you did when you were playing.
I don't know about that. That's a big one. That's a big one, Mikey.
Because he always had a thing where people used to take the mick out of your legs.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
But, if you look at him now, because I know sometimes people post old videos of you scoring wonder goals and stuff, and for Villa and things like that. Your physicality now, for the age that you are, I don't know whether you want to say your actual age now. You just had a birthday.
Yeah, 51.
I mean, for 51, you look unreal, my friend.
I appreciate that, thank you. But for me, this is a norm for me. When I finished my career, as I said to you, this is a natural thing for me. The gym, looking after yourself, being fit, becomes natural. It's part of your job as it is as well. So you have to take care of yourself. But this is a norm for me, and I enjoy the gym, enjoy looking after myself, and I want to stay as long as I can and do the things I can for as long as possible. And doing, the way I eat, the way I train is ideal for me.
Because we have to talk about your time as a player just before we get on to anything else. Because was it 21 games in 4 years? You arrived for what, 1.25 million?
That's
I
correct,
think it
yes.
was. Graham Taylor signed you for the second of 3 times that he brought you into a football club. We'll talk about him on the podcast extra. Your time as a player, kind of what happened? What didn't happen?
Yeah, frustrating. I was at Villa. I'd been 10 years at Villa, and I actually wanted a fresh challenge. It was a heart wrench to leave Villa at the time, and Wolves came in, and to be quite honest with you, the only reason I wanted to play Premier League football, but knowing Graham Taylor previously as well, from Villa, I went to chat with him, and within 4 hours, him speaking to me non-stop, not saying a word, convinced me that Wolves were the place to go, and with the signings we're going to make and everything else, that we'll be playing Premier League football, and. It was a wonderful place. I came to the stadium; it was fantastic. It's a Premier League place waiting to happen. And I was brought with it. My first pre-season there picked up an injury whilst we were on pre-season tour. Didn't think it was that serious at the particular time. So I came back, had some more investigations, found that I'd done a cruciate, so I had a cruciate repair. Didn't have the cruciate repair, sorry. They thought it'd give you after 3 or 4 months, it'd be okay, because you'd be fine with it. I got over that perfectly well, and then made my debut against Millwall, coming as a sub, and literally come on, I think, after 70 minutes, and within 3 minutes of being there, went again. Yeah, so I had to be substitute there again, and then I had a catalogue, getting back over from that, I had a catalogue of injuries. I had another ruptured patella tendon whilst I was there after coming back from that. It was horrendous. And, it was a really, really dark time for me. I mean, people think, he's record signing, he's getting paid, he isn't bothered about it and everything else. It was horrendous. When you have to cycle, you're cycling a bike and you're watching your teammates training out there. It's the worst feeling you could ever feel, not being able to play football.
That's what I was going to ask you. I think you come back, you do look after yourself, the fitness, you're in the best shape of your life. These injuries come, you can't do nothing about it. I think when Wolves got promoted to the Premier League, I was the same. I broke my foot out in Australia. It was 4 months without football, no matter what. But it's that interaction with the players coming in. You don't feel part of it. Yeah. Let's talk about that darker side. Depression's a big thing today. I suffered it myself. The last 2 years of my career, spoke about it. People aren't speaking about it, but back in the day, you couldn't really. It was the elephant in the room, wasn't it?
Looms, 100%. You were weak. If anything, man up. You're weak. You're a footballer. You're aggressive and everything else, and you shouldn't be able to do that as well. So during that time as well, especially my end of career at Villa, I did suffer a little bit from depression, I think, as well, because I went to see a sports psychologist, but it was hush. It was on the thing, it was, Gaffer, this and that, well, you need to see one, but don't mention it, don't, get the press and everything else. Well, it should be quite open. And during Villa as well, as I said to you before, when you're injured for 3 or 4 years there, and all you've known is football, and all you want to do is play football, and go out and do it, and you can't do that. It is. You get anxious, you get anxiety. Some people get depressed, and having the means where you have to be quiet about it is there's no help. Because in your own self as well, if you admit that you're depressed, it's a sign of weakness. You shouldn't be. Man up. And it's depressing now. I think it's great now. I mean, the likes of I think Danny Wells coming out talking about the way he is and everything else. It's normal. You're a normal human being, and you're going to have mental health issues, and it should be something that's open and be able to talk about.
Can I ask you then? Should it be treated like any other injury?
100%. And I think it is in some places. 100%.
Yeah, because I had this chat obviously with the PFA when we've met, and it's like they want to try and bring in something that it is treated like an injury, but for some people it's a distraction. It's to actually play. That's their release. Like for yourself, I go to the gym as often as I can because that's my release rather than take anything. But for some players, training, having that interaction with the players, and it's very careful that we don't separate that as well.
I think as well, it's speaking to players. If a player's come and says he wants help and it's affecting his football, he's not enjoying his training, he's not enjoying playing football and everything else, then you have to take him away. But if he's saying, away from football that I am this, and everything else, and I'm not enjoying my football, then I think it is to take him out that situation, and give him the help that she needs.
Yeah. We'll talk a bit more about that on our podcast extra, lots more that we want to go through with you. Just before we get to our rundown element, I did want to quickly touch on the fact, that your long association with the football club did come to an end. We spoke about it when you arrived here today, and the first thing you said to me was it was amicable. You you've moved on in your life, and your time at Wolves had come to an end.
Absolutely. I mean, I said I was there near on 10 years, and enjoy. Of course, you're going to be ups and downs and everything else like anything else, but the majority of it was fantastic. The club in itself, the people in the club have been unbelievable. Yourselves included, Mikey.
Thanks, mate.
Were outstanding. And it was a pleasure to work here. And as he says, time moves on. As he said, I think it's 9 managers. He said there to stay that long under 9 different managers is testament to perhaps myself and to what I've done here. So, with everything else, in the majority as well, some fans have their saying, some not. It doesn't bother me. I'm on about the majority being great and everything else, and I'll always have an affinity. Wolves are my second team. Just want to the results to look at. It goes to think about Villa. I've never lied about the fact that Villa are my team. In terms of that, so I've been open and honest about it. That's upset some Wolves fans. I'm sorry, but it's true. But whilst I'm working at Wolves, I want Wolves to win and be successful.
Well, I've seen you when we've had results against other teams and against Villa, and
absolutely, absolutely. I'll be the first one the goal goes in. I'm cheering and everything else, and be gutted afterwards if we beat them, but. At that particular time, it's your bread and butter, and Wolves have been great to me.
We will talk more about that in the meantime. We do this thing called the rundown, so it's kind of fairly quick fire, although Looms gives me stick for it not being as quick fire as it needs to be. So, first question: best player that you played with or trained at Wolves?
Yeah, played with. Train. Best.
You can make eye contact if you want to, so we're comfortable.
It'll be comfortable. Best player. Probably there's a few good trainers, I would say. I'd start with train on a coaching element.
Don't sit in the fence, Dale.
No, I'm not. Danny. I would say Matt Jarvis, excellent trainer. Yeah. Danny Bath. Excellent trainer. Looms, good company. Excellent trainer.
I like that one, didn't you? You too much.
Yeah, absolutely. But as ability on the football field as well. I mean, I go back to the season. I mean, I thought Silva and Ebans Blake that year was unplayable. Yep. I think he was absolutely outstanding.
Right, we'll spin that one then. Worst trainer.
Worst trainer. Got to be Kevin MacDonald, by far. No, don't get me wrong. He is a great lad. And
I played with him at Burnley, I thought he was best trainer in the league, but he never played.
No, I'm talking on the physicality side.
Right.
Okay. I'm just saying, best. Don't get me wrong. On the football field, that's a different matter. I'm coming on the fitness side. He would do anything to avoid anything physical, but as he says, produced on a Saturday. There's no complaints.
Okay, right. I just want to name biggest moaner.
Biggest moaner. Oh, James Henry, by far the biggest moaner I have ever come across. Unbelievable. Listen, you know me, Looms. I'm pretty quite mild-mannered, don't I, in terms of that. I think he's the only person I've actually lost my rag with in terms of.
Really?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, as in effing and blinding at and having words with and such because of his
Right, the best and worst dressed.
Oh, best and worst dressed. Looms, best dress.
Oh, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Worst dress. Worst dress. Is that can be played with as well?
Yeah.
Stephen Froggatt.
Steve Froggatt
was the worst dressed person I have ever met in my entire life. He could wear Hugo Boss, Armani, and you still look like a tramp. The worst dresser by far. There's not even an argument.
Right, we've got to skip through some of these because we're going to run out of time. We'll do them on the podcast extra. Who's your best friend in football?
Best friend in football? I'm very close to Dave Kelly, Steve Froggatt. Yeah, because I was his best man at his wedding, so that's why I'm caning him as well, to be quite honest with you.
The best game that you're involved in?
Best game you're involved in? As a player or just...
You decide?
Yeah, best player I would be my game winning the Coca-Cola Cup, the League Cup for Aston Villa against Man United 3-1, and my England debut.
Fantastic.
What about as a coach at Wolves?
As a coach would be who did we be? Andy Kellogg, help me out here. Andy Kellogg scored the winning goal to
Derby?
Confirmed.
Derby
the
away, though,
championship.
wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, would be probably the most memorable one for me.
Big one here. Best manager you've worked with.
Best Graham Taylor.
Okay, we're going to talk a lot about Graham Taylor on our podcast extra to come very shortly. This is just about it for the Facebook element of the Old Gold Club this week with Tony Daley. Lots to be discussed on there. Don't forget you can download the podcast, the full extended podcast, where we talk about Dales' dress sense and a lot of other things that go into it via iTunes and Spotify as well. Make sure you download that. Thanks for watching.
The Old Gold Club, powered by Wolverhampton Building Supplies, with Mikey Burrows and Chris Iwelumo.